Cubemajigs are reusable gaming packs for cube sideboards and other games. New designs from your favorite MTG artists are launched every Monday, so go check them out at cubemajigs.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Thursday means it's Fishbowl Thursday here in Instant Deck Tech land, and we have a fun one to check out today. This is 4-color Rampage for Standard, and it comes to us from Aaron A. So thank you so much to Aaron A for sending in a really unique Standard deck. And if you'd like your own deck considered for a future Fishbowl Thursday, make sure to leave that link in the comments, or you can email me, saffronolive@mtggoldfish.com. Anyway, let's talk some 4-color Rampage in Standard. So 4-color Rampage is built around Rampage of the Clans, and this is a really unique card. So 4 mana instant speed, you blow up all artifacts and enchantments, and each player, for each permanent destroyed that way, gets a 3/3 Centaur token. So on one hand, at first glance, this looks like a weird artifact hate spell. You're like, haha, affinity, rampage you lose all your stuff. The problem with that plan is you give your opponent a bunch of 3/3s, so you're still gonna die if you use this like a mass removal spell for artifacts and enchantments. On the other hand, this has potential to be a pretty sweet combo piece. If we can get a ton of artifacts and enchantments on the battlefield, we can upgrade these cheap artifacts and enchantments into 3/3 creatures to beat down with at instant speed at the end of our opponent's turn, untap, swing with everything, hopefully just kill our opponent with one Rampage of the Clans. And that is the plan of the deck. Play a bunch of cheap artifacts especially, and then use Rampage as kind of like our finisher to turn our cheap artifacts into 3/3 Centaurs. So as far as our cheap artifact plan, we start off in the 1-drop slot with Fountain of Renewal, Navigator's Compass, which I still can't believe it's showing up in a standard deck, and 1 copy of Scrabbling Claws. So these cards, they give us a small effect. Fountain of Renewal gains us a life each turn. If we're desperate, we can pay 3 to cycle it and draw a card. Navigator's Compass gains us some life when it comes into play and then can fix our mana, which is actually kind of relevant because we're a 4-color deck. Scrabbling Claws can give us some graveyard hate, but the big thing is, along with the slight effect these cards are giving us, they're just sitting out on the battlefield and waiting for the mid-game or the late game when we draw our Rampage of the Clans, cast it, and make a ton of 3/3s by destroying all these artifacts. Also, the fact that we have Fountain of Renewal and Navigator's Compass means that we're getting a bunch of life, and hopefully not just dying to aggro right away where we're setting up our combo kill. We also have Treasure Map and Azur's Gateway, so these cards, in the early game, kind of filter through our deck to find our Rampage of the Clans, find our removal, whatever we need. And then, in the late game, we can either blow them up with Rampage of the Clans, or flip them around into really powerful lands, and Treasure Map in specific flips around and makes us 3 treasures, so flipping it is actually great with Rampage of the Clan, because that's 3 3/3s just from the treasure tokens of Rampage of the Clans with Treasure Map, and we can always just cash them in to draw more cards. Azur's Gateway gives us a ton of mana. Then we have Transmogrifying Wand, which is kind of a weird removal spell, but it's also an artifact, so we can use this 3 times, downgrade huge Crackling Drakes and Lyras and Niv Mizzets into 2/4 Oxen, which is honestly a lot less scary than a Lyra or a Niv Mizzet or whatever. And then, after we run out of wanding, we can just blow it up with a Rampage, get a 3/3 out of the deal. So those are kind of our cheap early game artifacts. We also have a couple of interesting creatures. So Gleaming Barrier is kind of 2 artifacts in 1. Gives us a 0/4 artifact wall that we can blow up with Rampage of the Clans, and if it happens to die, it leaves behind a treasure that we can then blow up with Rampage of the Clans, or use with our treasure map or whatever. And then Psy Master Thopterist just makes a ton of artifact Thopter tokens as we are casting our Gleaming Barriers and treasure maps and all those random 1-drop artifacts we have to go wide with those Thopters, and then we can either just use those Thopters on defense or as threats on their own, or we blow them up with Rampage, make a bunch of 3/3s, kind of upgrading from 1/1 flyers to 3/3 ground creatures. We also have a bunch of Planeswalkers, so our backup plan for this deck is to use Karn Sign of Urza to make some really big card constructs. Since we have all these artifacts, as we are -2ing, those constructs are going to be big, 5/5, 6/6, even bigger than that, so they can't just win the game on their own. Dovin and Tezzeret give us more Planeswalkers that can make artifacts in 1/1 Thopters, also some card advantage, some life gain, and then the other thing is, we can also upgrade these into Centaurs with our Rampage of the Clan, so they work on their own as our backup plan for winning the game, while also synergizing with our main plan of blowing everything up with the Rampage of the Clan. So some really powerful Planeswalkers to control the board. Otherwise, Deafening Clarion, Cleansing Nova to deal with our opponent's creatures. In the early game, we don't have that many creatures, and what we do have, like Sai and our wall, dodge Deafening Clarion anyway, so we can sweep away our opponent's board while we're setting up this artifact plan, and then make all of our Centaurs and win the game. Mana base, Field of Ruin, Arch of Araska, give us some utility lands, getting rid of his Kanta with Field of Ruin, drawing cards with Arch of Araska. The rest of the mana base, not going to talk about all of it. I will just leave it at the deck has an ungodly assortment of shock lands and also check lands. I think we have 6 different shocks, 6 different check lands, mostly like 2 and 1-ofs, and then a bunch of different basic lands. So a pretty scattered mana base, but remember, we do have fixing with our Navigator's Compass and our treasure map, so we have some ways to make the mana work, even though the mana base is pretty crazy. Sideboard-wise, a bunch of sweepers, Settle the Wreckage, Cleansing Nova, Deafening Clarion. For the control matchup, Negate to counter stuff, Cindervines to sit out and punish people for casting spells, Scrambling Claws for Graveyard Hate, Sorcerer's Spyglass to shut down things like Teferi, Knight of Autumn, great utility spell, a lot of flexibility, and that is 4-color Rampage for Standard, and that's been our instant deck tech for today. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to Aaron A for sending in such a super cool deck, and if you'd like your own deck considered for a future Fishbowl Thursday, leave that link in the comments, or you can email me, saffronolive@mtggoldfish.com. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.